Everybody can hear me, I hope. Jolly good, okay. Well, good afternoon and welcome, and thank you very much for coming along to the SFE's AGM 2023. I'm Chris Aspinall. I have the privilege of being the current chair of the SFE, a situation which will only last for about another 25 minutes. I'm chair of the Royal Butterfly and Enthusiast Club. Oh no, sorry, that's what ChatGTP said. I'm actually chair of the SFE, that's right, I remember now. I'll give you a quick running order. So this is me, chair's remarks. Then we're going to have individual reports from each of the board members. Then a new board election, which is just a matter of process, and then a technical presentation given by Seele and Eckersley O'Callaghan. I'm going to read the notes that I've made rather than try and ad-lib it. I've learnt from experience that I'll forget to say something. So if you'll pardon me, I'm going to read what I've written. I've been chair of the SFE for the last 2 years, and I'd like to say how much I've been enjoyed being part of this excellent small team of board members. The whole is always greater than the parts, and I can honestly say that this is true of the SFE board. Without their help and support, I would have had an impossible task, and they've been a great group of people to work with for the last 2 years. And I will also say that the SFE is lucky to have them taking their time out of their very busy days and work lives to work on behalf of the SFE and sit on the board. Since the last AGM back in April 2022, the board has continued to deliver on a number of fronts. I don't intend to steal the thunder of my fellow presenters, but some of them include, there we go, participation in the joint competence white paper, which will come up again later. The Students and Affiliates Subcommittee, which is now already given its first presentation, and Simon will comment on that later. Chartership, which has been fantastically important, and Kenneth will talk about that. New hubs we're developing, and Nisha will talk about that. The ZAC event, which is becoming very important to the SFE, and the collaboration with ZAC, not only in London this coming November, where we will have our awards again, but internationally, and Nisha will comment on that. Rimi, I believe, will comment on that. So you're all aware of the Building Safety Act, even though many have yet to grasp the impact on their lives and businesses. The final version of the JCI, so the Building Safety Act we all are aware of. The final version of the Joint Competence Initiative white paper for setting the bar for envelope competence skills for all those involved in the delivery of herbs and low-rise buildings will be published on the 5th of May. There has been an ongoing working committee of many people developing this white paper. It's been through several iterations, and the final version, which will be available publicly for comment and for everybody to see, will be issued on the 5th of May. And it's going to make some very interesting reading. The SFE has had a seat at the table in the preparation of the white paper, and I would also like to add my thanks to my fellow SFE colleagues who stepped forward and gave up their own time in helping to get this important document delivered. More recently, in fact only last week, the DHULC published Testing for a Safer Future. I recommend that you get a copy of this as soon as possible and have a good look. It's 174 pages long, so it's something you're going to have a long coffee break to read. Interestingly, in the 174 pages, 8414 testing gets quite a drubbing. And the comments regarding its future validity and relevance in the facade industry makes interesting reading. So I highly recommend that this document, which is now available online, you get hold of and take a good long look at it. I got hold of it last Friday. I read it slowly and over the weekend, and there's a lot to take in. I can't think of a better time to be in the facade industry, or indeed being a member of the SFE. If you're already a member, may I encourage you during the next 12 months to reach out to at least one of your work colleagues who is not a member and get them on board. We need more membership of the SFE. You can become an affiliate member with absolutely no qualifications or experience whatsoever. The only qualification you need to become an affiliate member is, I'm interested in facades. That's it. So if there's anybody who has the remotest interest in facades, you can encourage them to become an affiliate member, and they will start their journey towards membership, and who knows where that may take them. The route to competence, as defined in the JCI white paper, and the ability to work on some of the more interesting complex buildings will depend upon your ability to demonstrate your involvement in the industry. And being a member of the SFE is an excellent way of doing this and demonstrating it to the greater world. We all know that out of the Building Safety Act, the requirement for competence and demonstrable competence is going to become a must for anybody who wants to get anywhere in this industry. So that shouldn't have come up next. That's because this has been inserted in the last 10 minutes. I don't really want to say a great deal else for myself. I one or two words to say right at the end. So I was at this point going to hand over to Will Stevens, but we've substituted a quick slide on finance. During the 2022, we underspent the SFE budget. That was because a lot of our events were in accommodation which was donated free of charge, and we had the odd sponsorship and people donated wine and beers. So we didn't spend as much money as we thought we would do on events. And also the SFE Design and Engineering Awards, which we co-partnered with Zach last year, made a small surplus, which we shared with Sibcy. And we've added that surplus into this year's 2023 budget. The words here say it's a significant increase in allocated budget for 2023. And we're going to use it to support the expansion of the hubs, which Nisha will talk about, increase marketing on the route to chartership, and increase number of events. And I would also ask if there is anybody in the room who has an idea that where they would need some small financial support or a sponsorship of some small nature, then please put it forward to the SFE and we'd be more than happy to consider it. We've got a reasonable budget, and I don't want to get to the end of the year, this coming year, having half of it left in the account, because next year it will just disappear and we won't be given it again. So for me right now, that's all I'm going to say. I'm trying to keep it quick because we want to give as much time as possible to the talk which will follow the AGM. So at this point, I'll hand over to, I hope, Will Stevens. There we go.
Good evening. Just to give you a brief update on the technical committee, I'd first like to thank all the members who have been sitting on the committee for the year. We meet monthly in the afternoon, and it's been some very good sessions we've had. We've had several new members, including our first new young member. So if there is a young member in the team who would like to get involved, that would be great. We've seen the conclusion of setting up of the technical areas, which is where the committee members are taking responsibility for one particular technical area, which the reasoning behind will come later. And we've continued with our engagement with CWCT, academia, research and industry, and commencement with our engagement with Sibcy Knowledge. We've had our first SFE technical article published in the Sibcy Journal, which I hopefully some of you managed to spot, and more will be coming. This has been championed by Ovi. Do get in touch on the email if you've got an idea of something that you would like to see in the Sibcy Journal. We'd like to make it more of a pipeline of articles coming through, so do pass that word around. We've also instigated discussions with CROSS, which is the Structural Safety Organisation, which is now starting to take on fire and facades. And we're exploring a similar sort of technical issues reporting process where we can actually try to expand the group knowledge and share areas of failure and issues that arise, and that's being headed up by Clive Atkinson. Next year we'll be focusing on the review of new standards and technical publications. We will be commencing our members' technical questions as well, where the technical committee will respond to members' questions, and it's something we're going to be starting to promote out to members. There'll also be more facade articles in the Sibcy Journal, and we'll be disseminating your experiences as well. So keep it coming, keep involved. The committee's been working really hard, and I think it's really starting to come together well. So hand over to Nisha.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming along. So a quick update on events. Very happy that at last we're finally having events in person. The year seems to whiz by, and we look back at what we've done. So we've had some great, interesting panel discussions. We're planning to do far more of those. Had a very interesting one, less is more. One of my favourite phrases when it comes to sustainability. And we have also, thank you to Andri Doda at Patrick Ryan for organising last year's City Walk. Again, thank you to Patrick, who, along with Howell, did a very interesting talk on PI insurance and preparing for the Building Safety Act. Our latest presentation, which was a tremendous success with well over 100 people, and thanks to ACOM for hosting, was on the occurrence of nickel sulfide inclusions in heat strengthening glass. We are very, very happy to be announcing that we've got another event happening in early June, just to be confirmed the actual date, and that is going to be Wintec presenting the LSE. We're also going to be arranging some more panel discussions. I know that Chris was very keen to do one on commercial considerations of facades. I think that's something that we tend to look at the design, etc., but actually we need to also look at the commercials. And I think particularly with the current climate and a lot of the issues we're having with actually getting buildings over the line when it comes to commercials will be very interesting. We also want to have sustainability part 2. What I would ask is, please, if any of you have got a topic you particularly want presented, please do let us know, because we'd rather be, responding to your requests rather than maybe coming up with ideas of things that maybe you're not so interested in listening to. So that'd be great. So please contact the SFE for that. Next slide, please. Thank you. So hubs. What's a hub? They used to be called regions, but it upset certain members within the SFE, so we've called them hubs. Now the hubs are areas, not just it was very London-centric before the way the SFE was perceived. So we're reaching out now to different, not just different areas in the UK, but also to different countries. Very successfully set up the USA hub with Catherine Chan in New York, and Catherine's already arranging events for this year with sponsors. In Dubai, we have Benjamin Beer, who is also coordinating events with sponsors in this hub. Italy is a very successful new hub with a lot of members. They've got, I think they've reported they've got nearly 90 people who are going to be part of that hub. And very importantly, I'll come on to in the next slide a bit more about Italy hub. In the UK regions, we've got Manchester. Thank you very much to those in Manchester, which includes Arup and various other people. I met with Arup, where they have hosted events in the past. So again, Birmingham, Anil has been arranging events there, and there is a city walk on the 24th of May in the Birmingham hub. I would like to say I have been covering hubs and events, and it really was a little bit too much with all the other stuff I've done. So I am very happy to announce that Simone Starnini, who was hoping to be here this evening but couldn't, unfortunately, he's going to be taking over heading hubs. and he's supported by Gavin Kerr, and Gavin hopefully will be setting up something in Scotland too. Next one. So this is really the progress of the SAP Italy, which Camilla Rigamonti and Chiara Tosi have been heading up. Very pleased to say that they are launching the hub at ZAC in Milan on the 8th of June, which would be fantastic. So if anyone can get there, it'd be great. I can see Alexandra is in the back, no doubt you'll be there. And also they are arranging a city walk in Milan for June 2023. So do please, if you've got colleagues who are overseas and you're interested in getting a group together for a hub, please do get in touch with us. One more to report is there is going to be a hub. They're currently looking at a hub in Hong Kong as well. That is hopefully going to be set up by Yanchi Lau, who's also at Eckersley Callahan. So again, like I say, if you've got any other ideas and hubs where you'd like those, some effort put into those, please get in touch with us. Thank you. And I'm going to now pass over to David.
Thanks, Nisha. I'll keep this very brief. Our fire guidance document, which hopefully you are all aware of, was published in late 2020. It's been downloaded over 2,000 times since then, and I think it's been very well received and hopefully helped to solve some of the problems we face in relation to the use of combustible materials. It was always intended to be a live document. Despite not receiving a great deal of feedback, we started the update of it last year and thought it was going to be relatively simple. Then we had revisions of ADB and Regulation 7 that changed things a little bit, so the review is slightly more extensive than it was going to be. We hope to have that revision published very soon. It's at final draft stage, and once again that will be freely available, and please, you will be informed when it's available. Download it, spread the word. I think it's a really important document that we've all we've produced. We're also involved in research activities. Progress is slow, as these things tend to be, particularly on government-funded projects. So one of them is looking at balconies, fan walls, and laminated glass. Another project is looking at testing of external wall systems. So that is ongoing, but as I said, progress unfortunately is rather slow. We've been involved in various standards and other activities as well. And I'll leave you, for this slide at least, with a quick question, and that is what should we be doing next? Now, the committee was specifically set up following the amended regulations when they were published in late 2018, and I think we've done a good job in that time, but what next? So please have a think, do get in touch with what you would like the fire committee to be working on in the future. Next slide, please. Thank you. And very briefly, because we are running a little bit late, I think, education, we've just literally last week completed the last module of the MSc this year, so our 6th year of our new home at UE. As you can see from the numbers, they remain very healthy, very encouraging, 36 starters this year. And in fact, the course did fill up. So people were actually turned away if you applied late last year. So applications are open. If you are keen to apply, or if you know anybody who does, please, I would recommend get your applications in sooner rather than later, so you don't miss out for the next start in September. That's probably enough for me, I think. So,
Right.
Pass over to you, Steve.
Stephen.
Yeah. You in charge of the book?
I'm in charge of the. Well, you can have it if you'd like it.
Sorry I couldn't make it last year, but this is actually last year's slide. No, it's not, it's this year's. It looks exactly the same as last year. There is a slight change. There's a slight upward trend in the members, and we're trying to improve the members and the transition from affiliates to members. But it's going to take a while. So membership by gender, again, the percentages are roughly the same. There are some slight changes in the unspecified. They move from unspecified to male. Next slide, moving swiftly on. Now this is the interesting one. If we use the full scale, then the UK obviously dominates. If we add in the extra countries, then you can see that if we break down the UK, we actually got mostly from the home counties, And then if we change the scale again, so you can actually see all the other countries involved. But one thing this year we didn't have last year was the granularity at the lower end. So you notice that the scale stops at 5 for Canada. And if you click the next slide, Chris did say that the whole is bigger than some of the parts. We have many, many parts. We've got 52 countries represented here. In particular, the one at the bottom, these are all the countries with 1 member. Okay. All we need is representation or members in another 120 countries. And we've got world dominance. So it's not a big, that's my task for the next 10 years while I retire. So just another 120 members in all these extra countries and we're covered. I think that's about as interesting as membership's ever going to get. So I'm going to hand over to Simon. Stop mumbling, Hal.
We've got more members in Taiwan than China.
I know, yeah. I think we said 100 yesterday.
Okay, so very quick one from me. We set up the student and affiliate subcommittee recently. So there are now 5 of us on the subcommittee, and we were delighted this year to hold our first talk at the University of Surrey. So this is really about speaking to students at university and spreading the word about facade engineering. So there were students in their penultimate year doing a design-based module, and we had really good feedback at that. So we're looking at holding some, now we've got the presentation formed, we can hold a lot more talks in the first semester of the next academic year. In this period, we've also been collaborating with some events by Eckersley Engineer, and we're looking at collaborating with them further. And also, there's a couple of other areas that are on the slide that we're going to work on over the next year. So yeah, that's everything from me. And I'll hand over to Kenneth.
Thanks, Simon. So last year we introduced the route to chartership, clearly affiliated through Sibcy. And we now have quite a few, we've got 5, I believe, interviewers. So when you apply for chartership through Sibcy as a facade engineer, you will be interviewed by at least 1 facade engineer. And we've got the competencies document, which has been out for the past year now. Next slide, please. And we've updated the website, giving some more guidance, helping people to get through the process. We're aware that there are some areas which need to be clarified further, so we've got some feedback and we'll be updating the website for that. Next. Thank you. So I mentioned we have 5 trained interviewers and 36 facade engineers who have both chartered engineer status with Sibcy and also membership of the Society of Facade Engineers. We do have roughly six people going through this process every year, but I'd say we certainly need more, which is again another call to arms. If you've got colleagues, if you know people who are looking to get chartered and are within facade engineering, please let them know that this is an available route. Because, next slide, please, there's the building safety competencies coming, the building safety bill, and there will be requirements coming in very shortly around demonstrating our competency to work on high-risk buildings. So we certainly, those 36 people are certainly not enough to address all of the buildings that we're going to have to be looking at in the future. That's all for me. And the next person is.
Thank you. That is working, I think, just about. So thank you. So I just want to say a few things this evening to you. I've been sitting for the last couple of years on a committee which is looking at PI insurance. And there is a PI insurance crisis here in the UK. We probably all know that, just worth repeating it. The work of the committee is culminating now in a letter to the Secretary of State for DLUC, the Department of Levelling Up and Housing and Communities, and that letter, we want to go out with that letter with the endorsement of the SFE, so it's being reviewed within the SFE. The letter really is hoping to bring change to the way that high-risk buildings are being remediated in the UK. There is a crisis in the PI industry, and there is also a crisis in the I'm sure you know, within the high-risk buildings, in the sense that there are many buildings still, apartment buildings, with flammable materials on them which have not been remediated. So they're still as dangerous as they were pre-Grenfell. So that is the situation that we're trying to remedy, and there is going to be something going out soon. I'm not going to say too much about it here and now because it hasn't gone out yet, but your SFE is right in there in the mix, doing something to try and change the situation. So that's about all I really want to say. We've been liaising with various bodies, so there we go. And I will hand over to Rumi.
Thank you guys for coming. I'll keep it short because this is one of the last activities we've been doing in SFE. You might have heard of the competition, which has been going on from 2014. But last year we kicked off with a collaboration with ZAC last year at Hilton, just after the ZAC Day event. It was a really well-received event. We had lots of entries and we had a lot of good projects which we awarded at the event. The competition has opened again for this year, and the closing date is approaching soon, 5th of June. We've added more categories, more chances to win, and we're calling for entries for projects which have been innovative, and we would like to recognize sustainability efforts in your projects, and the usual categories of new build and refurbishment as well. We also want to recognize young engineers in the industry and also the people who have been in the industry for a long time by recognizing the Lifetime Achievement Award. There's an opportunity to showcase your projects, your professionals, and your products as well. So there's a product category as well, which I will reach out to supply chain and you'll get your products which are innovative and have sort of changed the market needs, so to speak. Save the date for this year's event. It's on 8th of November after the ZAC Day event. And please reach out to us for any sponsorship opportunities and table sales. Thank you. I'll hand it over to...
Do you want to mention the main sponsor?
Oh yes, sorry. I wanted to mention the headline sponsor. Thank you, Chris. We have headline sponsor as Railers, and we are looking for more sponsors. So please reach out to us. Thank you. Now I'll hand it over to Chris.
It's me. Me again. I don't need that. I'm okay. The next bit is just a bit of formality, in all honesty. It's the election of the board members. That there's been no contested board position. This is the board as it sits as of this morning, with me as chair and Remy as the vice chair. And for next year, those positions of vice and chair reverse. I'm absolutely thrilled and delighted that Remy stepped forward a year ago and said she would take the position of chair when I stepped back today. For those of you who don't know Remy, I think she's an amazing person. She is the technical director with WSP since 2013 with WSP. Comes from an architectural background, which I don't particularly hold against her. But she's been specialising in facade engineering for a long, long time, more than 15 years. Not that I can believe that you've been in work for that length of time. She's a chartered engineer and MCI Sibcy, and member of Sibcy, a chartered project manager, and you've been working on behalf of the SFE since 2016. And Remy has been absolutely instrumental in organising the events with the competition over these years, and with ZAC last year, and along with Zara this year, very much organising the 2023 ZAC and SFE awards. Rimi will be our first lady chair, which is a milestone, and it proves there isn't a glass ceiling. I'm absolutely delighted and thrilled for all sorts of reasons that Rimi agreed to be chair. As I mentioned, we don't need to vote because there are no opposed positions. So, members of the SFE, this is your board for the following year. Give them a round of applause, not for me, but for them. I don't know what's happened here. What's happened here? Why has it just dropped out on me? There we go. Get rid of that. Not sure what's going on here. It's just a touch screen. No, it isn't. Jack? In the room.
I think on the desktop there was the CD and other things.
Roisin, do you know what to do? I don't have a clue.
I think it was on the desktop. I saw 2 PowerPoint.
Is this a? Oh, it's a touch screen. Is it a touchpad thingy? Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Well, good.
A lady's touch. It's just as easy. So there we are. If you want to get involved in the SFE, you don't have to be a board member. We've got members like Simone Starnini, Gavin Kerr up in Scotland who are working with us in the background, doing a huge amount. You can become a member, work with it, be co-opted onto the board, and ultimately, if you wish, you can become a board member. The SFE won't run without it. If people won't step forward, there is no society. It's dead easy. So we need people to step forward and put their hands up and just say, "Can I help?" And I'm sure we'll find you something to do. So I think, we are part of Sibcy. I describe them as our umbrella. We live under the umbrella of Sibcy. And it's possibly a side of the SFE that members don't see. Sibcy give us a huge amount of support. Simon Parker, the MD, is very, very active with Rimi and with Zara, working with Ahad on the ZAC side of thing. Hal Davis, for those of you who don't know, Hal is technical director at Sibcy and is the font of all knowledge regarding Building Safety Act and all the implications. We've just had a board meeting where it took me, Hal said, "Oh, just 2 minutes, Chris, just give me 2 minutes." And 15 minutes later, I was still trying to shut him up about what's going on. And I tell you what, I don't know how Hal sleeps at night, knowing what he knows about all of this. What's coming towards this industry is a tsunami of controls, competencies, and legislation, and it's really, really interesting. I'll mention Jack Batley, whom I shouted for early to come and help me. Without Jack helping us doing the ticket sales, keeping us in line, keeping records, helping us on the IT side, helping us with the website, I don't know what we would do. I particularly would like to single out now Roisin. Roisin, head of members services. Sadly, Roisin is moving on and is leaving Sibcy at the end of May. Roisin has been hugely supportive to me, guiding me, keeping me under control, telling me what the rules and regulations are of Sibcy and where I put my foot in it and where not to put my foot in it next. So she's been my mentor on many, many subjects, and she's been hugely supportive of the SFE. Sibcy has lots of other societies that they support, but Roisin has really helped the SFE, and I'd like to publicly thank her. I thanked her at the AGM and at the board meeting, and I'd like to publicly thank Roisin now for all the help that she's given. If you'd be so kind.